Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going over the frictionless workflow I use to capture and organize content in Notion. I basically combined a popular third-party extension called Save to Notion and a Notion template I specifically created to make the capture, summarize, organize process as seamless as possible. Let's get started. First up is the clipped content template I made for my very humbly named knowledge database. I'll link this entire database down below and on my website, so feel free to make a copy and follow along. For me, all web content I capture really boils down to two types: educational, how-to type of content, and creative content that inspire me. The content medium is either video or text, and these are the different categories of notes currently relevant to my life. It's important to customize these properties for your own use case because they will affect how you set up filtered views for your knowledge database down the line. The implication is just a text property that serves as a one-sentence summary or takeaway for this particular piece of content. For example, I'm currently researching how to do a 24 to 72 hour fast. And although I took a lot of notes down here, the immediate implication for me is to try to experiment with this during a holiday like Chinese New Year. For status, I have WIP, work in progress, and completed. And this is actually related to the note structure down here. If there are uncompleted action items, this will remain WIP. If all this are done or there are no action items, this will be completed. The date property here is optional, but I have found the reminder feature to be very useful. For example, I want to start preparing for my fast right before the holidays, so I've set myself a reminder for January 25th to come back to this specific page. This is just a URL for the content, and we'll come back to this very simple note structure in a little bit. By the way, not related, if any of you have experience with fasting or know of any resources, please let me know down below. I've heard there are a lot of benefits, and I definitely want to give it a try. Now we understand the page properties, head on over to your browser and install the Save to Notion extension. This is basically the official Notion web clipper extension on steroids. To set this up, go to any web page you'd like to clip. Click the Save to Notion extension, and after signing into Notion, you have the option to add a new form. A form here is like a template in and of itself, whereby after you set up a few settings, you essentially have a one-click to save button moving forward. Select the workspace and database you want to save your content to. I'll choose the shared externally knowledge database for this example. Rename the form title to educational because that's one of my two note types, right? Make sure the template is set to none for now, and let's check clip page content. I recommend adding all the fields we talked about in the Notion page template just now, like so, and set the default type of this form to educational and status WIP work in progress. Click the three more fields here, and you want to delete the content image field and change the icon to page image. Basically, if you don't make this change, your clipped page will look kind of ugly. Once you click save and go back, you can choose to select the form we just created, and you'll see that it's already pre-populated with the type educational and status WIP work in progress fields. And now you can fill out the other fields for this specific web page. I'm reading up on like fasting, so health and fitness. Medium, this is text. Implication, I'm gonna leave empty since I haven't gone through the entire article yet. And reminder, you can leave as is. And click add new page, open in Notion, and open Notion. And you'll see a page with the clipped content appear in your knowledge database along with all the hyperlinks and section headers. While this is already pretty cool if you didn't know how to clip web content before, it's still a little bit awkward because if I wanted to write down like key takeaways or action items, I would literally have to press enter from the title to create a new block, type in key takeaways. Let's make this purple and start typing like this. A little bit awkward and a pain to do every time. But no worries, your boy Jeff found a hack. I mean, that's what you're here for, right? My sarcasm and my good looks can only go so far. So what you want to do is to go back to the web page, click the Save to Notion extension, choose the form you just created, click the settings gear up top here, and this time uncheck the clip page content and leave everything else as is. Save and go back, fill out the fields again like so, and click Add New Page, open in Notion, open Notion, and you end up with a seemingly empty page with just the URL saved. However, you now have an option to use a template, and boom, key takeaways, action items, and notes. But Jeff, the whole point is to clip the web content. You're right. Go back to the web page, find an important paragraph, highlight it, right-click, add highlight, and whatever you highlight will be added on top of the notes section here. In my opinion, this actually makes a lot more sense than clipping the entire article, since you just want to note down the most important parts anyways. And for those of you who noticed, there is an option to select an existing template from the Save to Notion extension. It actually breaks the tool if you use an existing template. I don't know why. Hopefully that gets fixed in a future update. But for now, you can only pick none. Now let's quickly take a look at 4 realistic situations where everything I talked about today ties together. First, I was watching this YouTube video to learn more about fasting, and since this has no text, I chose to not clip the content and use my notes template instead. During the video, she talks about a concept called sodium loading that I wasn't familiar with. And so I Google it, and for this article, I clip the content first, read the article, summarize a few key bullet points about sodium loading within the main fasting page, and link to the sodium loading page using the mention a page feature within Notion. Well, what about the inspirational type of content I mentioned earlier? Well, I've actually been planning to do a video on packing for business trips. Let me know down below if that's interesting for you. And so I immediately saved Matthew and Sina's recent What's in My Bag video because it's on the same topic and he's literally one of the most authentic and creative YouTubers I've ever watched. Anyways, I clipped the video without the content so I can write down ideas I can copy in my future video. And I also noticed that his packing list on Notion is so much more organized than mine, so I put that down as an action item as well. Matt, if you're watching this, I legit went out and purchased the level 8 suitcase you mentioned in your video. So yeah, influencer marketing works. Sponsors, take notes. Speaking of impulse buying, I watch a lot of reviews on video gear that I might want to upgrade to sometime. And for videos like these, I don't take much notes and I just write in the implication text property field how that product might be relevant for me down the line. From an organizational standpoint, I recommend creating filtered views based on your own needs, but I definitely recommend including a not organized view whereby the type property is empty. Because sometimes you might clip or save content and forget to fill out all the properties, right? And this view acts as a catch-all. If you found all this helpful, you might enjoy this video on how I take notes in Notion. See y'all next week, and in the meantime, have a great one.